I am 2 months removed from the Boston Marathon, and I am 7 months away from the Houston Marathon.
Wake up! Yeah!
The following video is a sneak peek into 1 week of the burst phase. On Tuesday, I wrote myself the following ladder: 4 times 200 meters at mile pace, 2 times 400 meters at 3K pace, 4 times 800 meters at 5K pace, 2 times 400 meters at 3K pace, and 4 times 200 meters at mile pace, totaling 4 miles of work. My camera operator for the day was an absolute legendary 7th grader named Miles. He only cost me a Whataburger with cheese, a smoothie, and a chocolate chip cookie. So I ran these 200 meter reps by effort, though I was mindful of the pace. So while I was running, I was thinking, can I hold this pace for 4 laps? And then when my watch beeped at me, I checked in on the time. Now, according to Jack Daniel's VDOT calculator, these are R reps, and my R rep pace for these 200 should have been 38 seconds. As you can see, typical to a noob, I went out a little too hot. But the second rep was bang on 38. For rep 3, ouch, 34. This is FR pace. These are fast reps. These reps are intended for 800 meter runners. This is going to come back to haunt me a little bit later in the workout. And on that note, the rest duration for these 200s was 90 seconds. The duration of rest for the 400s at 3K pace was 2 minutes. All right, 400s at 3K complete. Next up, we have 800s, 5K, 244. That's the target goal. And the rest for the 800s, I was aiming for 1-to-1. So I gave myself 2 minutes and 44 seconds rest, because according to Jack Daniel's VDOT calculator, my I pace, my 5K effort pace for my intervals at 800 should be 2 minutes and 44 seconds. 244, bang on. Now, one of the key principles to getting faster or fitter is progressive overload. For example, last week I ran 10 times 400 meters at mile pace, and later in the week I ran 8 times 20-second hill sprints. This totaled roughly about 3 miles worth of work, which was close to 5% of my weekly mileage. And this week, in this workout, I will be running 4 miles at mile to 5K pace, so I will be running slightly more, and this is what we talk about when we talk about progressive overload. Now this workout falls squarely in my bursting phase. After the bursting phase comes a bridge phase, which carries me over to my marathon phase. Each one of these phases contains the same kind of workouts. There's some speed work, there's some threshold, there's some long run, but the most important workout of the week varies depending on what phase we're in. Since we are in the bursting phase, these speed sessions are the most important workout of the week. I like to work in 14-day cycles. So 1 week, this bursting phase may have shorter recovery periods, and in the second week, it may have longer recovery periods because they're working 2 different things. These shorter recovery times increase the metabolic stress, they increase the body's ability to tolerate blood lactate, and it improves endurance capacity. Conversely, the benefits of longer rest is that you get the full recovery. So then you can put maximal force output, higher intensities, and you can improve your technique and power, especially when bursting up hills. Ultimately, I like to think of it as I'm improving my running economy. For the level of importance, this interval session is the most important workout of the week for my burst phase, followed by the threshold running and then a 90 to 100 minute long run. Now in the burst phase, my weekly mileage is around roughly 50 miles a week or around 80K. I personally don't believe in year-round high mileage, though some runners are able to make it work. I have found 50 miles to be enough of a supportive base to hold pace and recover from the size of these workouts. I have run a 1:23:58 half marathon a few years ago, and then this year I ran a 1:20:35 half marathon on roughly about 50 miles a week. And even though for my sub 3 I ran probably around 60-65 miles, a lot of runners can run a sub 3-hour marathon on about 50 miles. That's not to say 50 miles is some sort of magic number, but the elites and sub-elites, they run much bigger workouts, much more volume of high speeds, and so therefore they need more weekly mileage to support the training. The burst phase. Okay, the idea behind this, guys, is the faster you can move through space-time, the faster you can cross 100 meters, the faster you can travel 200, then 400, then 800, and 1 mile, all the way down the line. It's not so simple, but in a way it is. If you want to run faster, you're going to have to run fast. On this last 200, I thought it was going to be a 22. I thought when I looked down here at the halfway, it was an 11, but turns out it was really a 37. On Wednesday, I had 60 to 70 minutes easy. And as the cliche goes, easy days easy, hard days hard, but it was really forced upon me more than it being a conscious choice that I made. That's one of the ways I know I'm running at the appropriate paces in my bursting phase, is that I really don't want to pick up the pace on my easy days. The impact forces from the 4 miles from yesterday must be respected. At any age, pace doesn't matter. The focus of my Wednesday run was actually on my running form. You see, when I went to go edit the Tuesday workout, I never realized just how terrible my running form truly is. So I asked AI to help me with my terrible running form, and I tried to put some of that into practice. That'll be the next video. On Thursday or Friday, it's a day reserved for threshold. Threshold is the second most important run of the bursting phase. It's the most important run in the bridge phase, but we're not there yet. That doesn't mean it's neglected in the burst phase. Last week, I ran 3 times 2 miles with a 2-minute rest. And this week, I am throwing a curveball. Curveball! It's the Koros fitness test. Why, Andrew? You ask, but you don't ask. But I ask for you because I'm the one making this video. And I'm going to tell you it's so I can get calibrated, so we're on the same page. So we have the starting point. We have the before picture as I do this burst phase, as I go into the bridge phase, and eventually the marathon phase, so we know where my fitness is at currently. The Koros fitness test is essentially a 25-minute marathon effort run, followed immediately by 3 minutes at 10K effort, followed immediately by 3 minutes at 5K effort. The results are in, and Koros says I am indeed the father. I could run a 5K in 17:51. I could run a 10K in 36:47. I could run a half marathon in 1:20:58. And Koros says I can run a marathon in 2 hours, 47 minutes, and 30 seconds. I'm convinced I can run the 5K and the 10K a little bit quicker, but I guess those are going to have to be future videos as well. So I added the Koros test and I moved some threshold into the long run. Now the strategy behind moving days around is load management. This is a way to deload. On Friday, thank God it's Friday, more easy running, more time on feet, about 60 to 70 minutes. To note, I do not do any doubles in the bursting phase. I'm not trying to chase mileage. Instead, I am more focused on getting sleep and letting those adaptations soak in. On Saturday, we had a long run. It was 5 times 15 by 5, 15 minutes being easy and 5 minutes being threshold, for a total of 25 minutes of threshold running. To be transparent, I stole this one from Matt Fox, and I'm not sure who he stole it from. That's how these workouts go. I like this workout a lot because it's so fartlicky that it almost doesn't even feel like a workout. Just touching on threshold here. Sometimes in these long runs, I will mix in some marathon pace. Sometimes they will be time on feet. Last week, we had 3 times 2 miles at marathon pace effort, which for my fitness level is around 20 seconds slower than my threshold. And in my threshold runs, they were landing around 5:58 a mile. So my marathon pace efforts were around 6:18 a mile. For my metric friends, this is 3:44 a kilometer for my threshold and about 3:55 for my marathon pace. All right, guys, I want to give a disclaimer and I want to let you know that I am not saying this is the only way to get faster. I'm just saying this is how I'm coaching myself currently to get faster. It's how I'm coaching some of my athletes to get faster. But to be transparent, most of them are in a bridge phase on their way to marathon training because they have fall marathons lined up. I'm not running a fall marathon. Anyway, if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, you can find it right here, strideandshine.com. If you're not looking for one-on-one coaching, but you got some value from this video, please do me a solid, slap that subscribe button. Slap in the base, man. Oh, let's do a miles outro. First place in 2 heats yesterday, backstroke and breaststroke. To be fair, some of those guys had a mustache. Some of those 7th graders had a mustache. Saw one guy when he left get into his car and leave. So somebody check for his driver's license. Any final thoughts? How was it for you?
Good.
Hey, you want to get a triathlon relay going? You do the swim part, I'll do the running. Maybe we could get your brother to pick up cycling in 1st grade, get him off the tricycles, start going hard. What do you think? All right.